I'm Esther Feders, and I am going to the World Cup. I had quite a nightmare time getting tickets, so I want to tell you all about how I actually got tickets to go to the World Cup. I truly thought I was not going to be able to see Mexico, and it was so sad because I'm not kidding. We started saving up like 2 Christmases ago for this World Cup. I knew I wanted to go with my dad, and so it was really important when January hit to be on top of the FIFA scene and figure out how to get tickets to go watch Mexico play. For those of you who don't fully know, the World Cup is split between Mexico, Canada, and the US, and we really didn't even know where Mexico was going to be playing. We just knew it was going to be one of those 3 countries. It was such a nightmare because there was so much that was not known. We did not know what country they were going to play in. We didn't know what city they were going to play in. We didn't know when tickets were gonna go on sale. We didn't know what the ticketing system was gonna look like. And little by little, we started to get answers, but it was just so scary and awful because you hear about the scamming that goes on as well with tickets. So we were just like stressed. So we knew we wanted to watch Mexico play, and what we didn't know was that the country of Mexico had a whole separate ticketing process. So in the US, we had to enter a queue. Well, first we had to enter the lottery with our emails to hopefully get selected to buy tickets at face value. And they had, I want to say 2 or 3 drawings, and I signed my husband up, and unfortunately I did not get selected, but my husband did get selected. So he got an email from FIFA saying that he'd been selected as a winner. There really weren't many prerequisites. You just had to have a Visa card on file that they could charge for the tickets. So that morning when the queue opened, I think it opened around like 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, he was sitting in the queue for quite some time, and the queue just moved so slowly. And I mean, you've seen this screen all over the place. Whenever anyone talks about FIFA and how this ticketing system has been, we have to talk about this queue and how awful it is. Mind you, this is the first World Cup that I have been able to like even think about going to. So I don't know if the ticketing system was done better elsewhere, but gosh, the ticketing system alone was like its own World Cup trying to win and get those tickets. So in the US, around March, by that time, if you weren't selected in the lottery, you could then enter the queue and just buy the tickets that are being resold. And when I would wait in that long queue and finally get in, I would just never see any Mexico tickets. And my husband didn't see any Mexico tickets when he first won the lottery, back in the January-ish, February timeframe. And so it just kept seeming so strange because on the website, Mexico tickets were nowhere to be found. There were so many Reddit threads with other fans of Mexico saying like, where are these tickets at? We want to watch them. And what we didn't realize was that Mexico has its own ticketing system to ensure that, prices aren't just completely gouging the customers. Mexico was selling, I believe, the tickets to only Mexico residents that had an address and were citizens. And, the thought is actually very nice. I wish other countries did that as well and cared about their citizens attending something like this. US. But for the fans who weren't in Mexico, it meant a wait time of when will these tickets be up for resale. So I finally was able to see Mexico tickets on the resale market on the FIFA World Cup site in April. Mind you, this is after months of being just like discouraged. I thought we for sure were gonna miss Mexico, and I had been saving up, and I just kept thinking like, okay, I have X amount of dollars that I want to spend on these tickets. Like if someone could just sell me these tickets, I will buy them. And then I started to even see them in like StubHub and SeatGeek, and I just kept thinking like, how do these ticketing sites have FIFA World Cup tickets for Mexico when the Mexico tickets aren't even on the FIFA website? So I am so happy I didn't fall for one of those scams. I hope no one else did, because like that's completely what's wrong with the way we do ticketing here in the US. At one point, my failed attempt was me in the queue for like 8 hours. Come to find out, FIFA had an outage and I wasn't the only one that was sitting in this queue for hours on hours. It was just a horrific experience. So when I finally saw the tickets for Mexico on the resale site for FIFA, I hopped on them so quick. I was able to secure tickets on April 2nd for category 3s to watch the Mexico versus South Korea match, and I want to say it was around $2,600 per ticket. And the original price, I believe, was listed there, and it was something like a couple $100. And I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, of course, like the Mexican residents were able to buy a bunch of tickets and then they can just resell and gouge at us. But you know what? It's fine. I really wanted to go to this match. I just wanted to go see Mexico. I didn't care what match it was for. I had looked up the tickets for the opener in Mexico City, and those were way outside my price range. So we got the South Korea match, and it's in Guadalajara, and I am so excited to go. But all of this excitement came with so much like disappointment, disbelief, just horrible feelings. It was really such an awful experience to try to get these World Cup tickets, and I know I'm not the only one. If you scroll through Reddit, you'll see tons of people with similar experiences, and it's just so sad that it's come to this. It really is. Like I said, I don't know what other World Cups were like and if the ticketing system was similar and if the prices have been similar, but something about like this World Cup being split between the 3 countries and it being, you know, this pricey with the economy the way it is and a war going on, like, it's just very heavy, and I just want to enjoy the game of football. So that is how my ticketing nightmares happened and were solved towards the end. And I can confirm, as of like May 21st is when I think I saw the tickets in my FIFA app. I think that's the only place you can see your tickets, is on the FIFA app. They have really like locked it down when it comes to the ticketing platform and getting your tickets. And I believe like when you go to the match and you scan your ticket, it has to be like on your phone in the app. Like it can't even be a screenshot. So I will be happy once I am sitting in the stadium, not having to even think about the whole ticketing fiasco. Some things to know if you are still in the nightmare of trying to get tickets to one of the World Cup matches. The FIFA resale website is still up. You can still buy tickets. From what I've seen, tickets are varying. Tickets are, high on some days, low on other days. There's really no rhyme or reason. And if you're not in a host city, it really does stink, because you do have to, plan in advance for the travel and whatnot. Whereas I think if you're in the host city, it might be cheaper same day. But hang in there and go Mexico.